God, Most High in Christ. All right. So, Salakia. So, GP, you got your apocrypha with you? God, I need that. The one in Ecclesiasticus. God, no sweat, no sweat. Take your time. You know what I mean? So basically, with the Lashawan Qadash class, Salakia, of course, for the delay in starting, we had some technical difficulties and things. You know what I mean? We're going to get right into it. We're not going to waste no time. Right? So, the Lashawan Qadash class, many people might ask the question of the importance of even reading, speaking, or doing anything with Hebrew. What's the point? You know what I mean? What's the point of it? Kind of, so you can probably just find it on your phone. Kind of just type in prologue to Ecclesiasticus and you'll find it. You know what I mean? So I've heard that question asked many times, like, okay, well, y'all speaking, what's the point of that? You know what I mean? Our people are unfamiliar with why they even should speak Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? Like, why do we need to learn how to speak Hebrew? Do we even need it? You know what I mean? So let's find out. Let me know you got it, brother.
I have the prologue. But do you want me to start from the beginning or from that part that we normally start
from? You can just start it from that part that we normally start at, because the prologue is relatively long.
Yeah,
it's relatively long. So we just need this a particular part. Right. He's saying a lot more before that, but right now we just need this part. So like, I was just checking the audio, make sure it was coming through to Wab.
Found it.
Got it?
Yeah.
Go ahead and read that, brother.
This is the prologue in the book of Ecclesiasticus and the Apocrypha.
This is why we need to learn Hebrew. Go ahead.
For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them.
Simple as that. The same things uttered in Hebrew, the same things that were originally said in Hebrew, if they get translated to another language, they don't have the what? The same force in them. You know what I'm saying? They don't have the same force in them. They don't have not just the same, think of force like effect. It doesn't have the same effect when you read something in its original language versus the translated version. Okay, and that's true of most languages, but especially of this language because it's the language the Bible was written in. Okay, so if you read any language, you know, like there's words in languages that can't be translated. And we'll see this even in Hebrew with certain words we encounter when we deal with the blue letter, right? We'll encounter a word and we'll look at it and we'll see it, and it'll literally say that there's no English equivalent. There's no English word that really coincides with this. You understand what I'm saying? And so you have to get a good foundational understanding of the root language to make sense of the text. So read that one more time if you could, Baba Kushah.
For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them.
Any more? Go ahead.
And not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets.
Right. So not just the things we're about to read in Ecclesiasticus, but also the law. So somebody can say, oh, well, you know, he might be talking about just what he said even the laws. You got to know the Hebrew. Go ahead.
And the prophets.
And the prophets. So it means not just Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, but also who? Joshua, Judges, Ruth, Samuel, Kings, yada yada. Go on, Slakia. Yeah, please.
I think Isaiah is another one, right?
God, Isaiah, Jeremiah, Lamentations, all of that. Go ahead. There's a little bit more.
Oh, Slakia. If I may,
please.
Because I believe even with Isaiah, not even just in Hebrew, I think even when you go to the New Testament, Isaiah is what, Esaias? Yeah, I believe that's if I'm not mistaken.
Isaiah's Esaias. Hosea is OC.
Yeah, that's yeah.
So there's like three of them where it's like it's a different translation, because instead of it being read like Joshua, right? Like in the Hebrew translation, or it's like here, in the Old Testament, we see the name Joshua, which is the what? Is the English transliteration, a bad transliteration of Yahushua. But then the same name in Greek is Jesus. But they literally have the same name. Yahushua is Joshua. So, but yet when you read in the Old Testament, you see Joshua. You don't see Jesus. Mm-hmm. And that's why you see, when you read in the Apocrypha, also you see Jesus, because the Apocrypha was translated from Greek. So that's why you get this discrepancy. Okay, here it says Isaiah, but here it says Esaias. Here it says Hosea, but here it says OC. Here it says Joshua, but here it says Jesus, right? A lot of people don't realize that the Joshua in the Old Testament, he had the same name. His name was Yahushua. You know what I'm saying? So it was a somewhat common name. You know what I mean? Christ didn't have some magical name that no one ever had before him. No, he had a name that was common for Israelites to have. In fact, read the beginning of that. The prologue.
The very beginning.
The very beginning.
Okay. The prologue of the wisdom of Jesus.
Wisdom of who?
The wisdom of Jesus.
Right. Go ahead.
The son of Sirach.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas many and great things have been delivered,
right,
unto us by the law and the prophets.
Yeah, I was just saying, pointing out that was another Jesus. That also not Joshua. It's a different Jesus. It was a common name. I thought Jesus was like, I thought everything about him was special. Like, I thought he was the only person who had his name. He was the only person. Of course, he didn't have a father, according to the Christian church. So he's the only dude whose mom had the privilege of basically having sex with the Most High, is how the Christian church puts it. He crept up in there at night and, go ahead, Doc, what you got?
I'm glad you said that. I know this is off topic, but I'm glad you said that. You brought up a great point. I just don't understand why the Christian church likes to make Christ a bastard child. Like, I hate
that. I don't get it.
He got to come from a single parent household.
Right.
Like, damn.
I guess because the Christian church, like the Catholic church, is like, they got a thing against, like, to them, like a man having sex with a woman is the worst thing imaginable. That's the worst thing a man can do, is have sex with a woman of proper age, but having sex with little boys, no, that's not a big deal. Other children, no, that's all good. Oh, men having sex with other men, oh, that's great. But a man just having sex with a woman, that's his proper age, no, that's just too much, man.
That's out of line.
Yeah, you out of line. That's a sin. That's a sin for you to do that. Which is why those Catholic priests, they're not allowed to get married. You know what I'm saying? And then they be touching some altar boy or something like that. You know what I mean? It's disgusting, man. It's absolutely disgusting. So now, so that's the reason why it's important there. I want to get one more scripture, maybe two more, to show the importance, right? Before we move on to the actual topic. Let's see here. Give me Salakia. Give me give me 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 22. 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 22. Let me know when you got it out. So this is another thing for our people to understand of why this is important. It's so foreign to us because, as Psalms 83 says, which we won't read today, but as Psalms 83 says, you understand, they took crafty counsel against God's people and cut us off, right? So we know who it has to be talking about, because only one race of people have experienced being cut off from their heritage to the point where they don't know who they are, right? Only one race of people. So we know who it's talking about. Now, with that, if it says it took crafty counsel that the name of Israel, let's cut them off from being a nation in the name of Israel, maybe no more remembrance. Well, you lose your nationality, you lose your identity, you lose your land, you lose your culture, and of course, with that, you lose what? What do you lose with those things? You lost your culture, you lost your land, you lost your identity. So what else did you lose? It goes with those things. Something we don't have. So our culture is sisters wearing long dresses, fringes. Our culture is not booty shorts. Our culture is not your cleavage popping all out of your shirt, right? Our culture is not brothers walking around with their shirts off. Our culture is not got a man wearing goddamn skin tight skinny jeans. Our culture is headpieces, mitris, you know what I'm saying? The shield. That's our culture. Of course, we had our land. So we lost our culture, we lost our land, we lost our identity of even knowing that we're Israelites. What else did we lose? Think about the topic. Why is this class important? I kind of just gave you the answer. Anybody? Can, but no. Go ahead.
Well, you said culture, so I mean that's everything. That's your language, your laws, well, I'm gonna say religion.
You said it. We lost it. And so now we have to get it back.
Right.
You know what I mean? We don't have it. Our people are the only people on the face of the earth. The so-called Arab man, he got Arabic. He got Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He has his land. Yeah, he's fighting over there with the fake, it's like a so-called Jewish man over land. But he knows who he is. He knows what his ancestors look like, what their culture was. And he fights for it. That's why he fights for Sharia law in his land. That's his culture. The Chinese man, Japanese man, all of them have a connection with their history. You go to some people, there are people in China right now who literally can show you a painting of an ancestor of theirs who lived 1,000 years ago. And they know that they are the direct descendant of that person. Can any black person do that? She would have to do as I grew up with, couldn't even point out their father on a street corner. It's a fact. It's a fact. They can walk past their own father and wouldn't know it was him. And so we have to have this class because we have to get back to this. The water says shalom, says how Shemar thought about Shemal Shah. So we have to get back to this. All right. So you got that scripture, brother? If you can read that, Bob Shah.
The book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 11, verse 22. Are they Hebrews?
Are they what?
Are they Hebrews?
Are they Hebrews? That's a question that who's asking this? Paul's asking this question. So for your Christian moms, your aunties, and everybody who said, "Oh, color doesn't matter, race doesn't matter, we're all God's children, none of that matters," then why is Paul their favorite prophet? Why is he asking this question? Say it again.
Are they Hebrews?
He wants to know, are they Hebrews? Go ahead.
So am I.
And he's saying what? I'm a Hebrew too. So he's letting you know that this connection matters. Are they Hebrews? So am I. But he's not done. Go ahead.
Are they Israelites?
Are they what?
Are they Israelites?
Because guess what? Being a Hebrew is not enough. Y'all do know that Edomites are Hebrews, right? Edomites are Hebrews. Yes, the oppressor, that is the devil the Bible speaks of, he's a Hebrew. Why? He's only a Hebrew because he's a descendant of Eber and because his people spoke Hebrew just like our people spoke Hebrew. You understand? He's a Hebrew. The Moab, Hebrews. Ammon, Hebrews. You understand? Go ahead. But that's why he said, are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they what?
Are they Israelites?
Are they Israelites? Go ahead.
So am I.
And that mattered to Paul, so it matters to us. It matters to us. You can't get in these doors if you're not an Israelite. You can't get in here, and you'll never get in here. And don't tell me that I'm wrong for that, or that the Isupk is wrong for that, because why is Paul asking those questions? Like, if color doesn't matter, he shouldn't care, right?
Right.
It should mean nothing to him. Any more than that?
Come on. Are they the seed of Abraham?
Are they what?
Are they the seed of
Are
Abraham?
they the seed of Abraham? So now he's saying, oh, are they Hebrews? Cool. Are they Israelites? Are they the seed of Abraham? Did they literally come from the loins of a man named Abraham? Basically, are they the same race? Are they from my family? Go ahead.
So am I.
So am I. I'm a Hebrew, I'm an Israelite, and I come from the seed of Abraham. Read on. Any more than that?
Verse 23. Are they ministers of Christ?
Now he's getting into the work. Okay? Because really now he's really breaking it down. Because that's where he gets into the question that we would ask in here. Because people out there are what? They're Hebrews. They're the seed of Abraham. They're Israelites. But what will Christ say? Who's my mother? Who's my father? It doesn't mean, and who's my brother? It doesn't mean, oh, other races. No, it means that the criteria is more than just we're Israelites. You know what I'm saying? And there's a scripture that says that. We might get that later on. All right. But now let's get into today's topic. So what we're gonna do today, I didn't write it on the live, but no sweat. So, oh, and let me say this real quick too. Can we get a quick, just, you know what I'm saying, just a hand clap for Commander General Yohana, man, and that 50-second Passover. Ooh, wee. I don't know about y'all. I seen some people said it. Some people don't agree. I did not want to leave Houston. Salakia. I got to come back here and do my work. You know, it's no sweat. But ooh wee, the time that I had there being around the Akim while Akwathian was just so glorious. Say shalom, Ak. Trubakudum in the spot. Shalom, Ak. It was just so glorious. And it reminds me so much of why we do this work, why we have to do this work. And for the brothers and the sisters, them sisters out there did so much glorious work, man. Give them sisters a round of applause too, man. Give them sisters a hand, man. Them sisters was asked, I ain't gonna give no detail, but them sisters was asked at the drop of a hat to get to that BH ranch and cook that unleavened bread. You know what I'm saying? And they got there. They found a way. Some of them probably had plans. They was gonna go to the mall. They was gonna do all of that, but they was like, nah, you know what I mean? We're gonna go handle this. And they made that unleavened bread, and it was ooh-wee, so delicious, so tawab. With the lamb, that's a combination. I don't. Is it better than the mac and cheese with the yams, or mac and cheese with the beans? I don't know. It ain't quite there yet. I don't know, but it's close. That unleavened bread, I mean, with the lamb is something special. You know what I mean? So please, I
tell you what, I'll tell you how good that lamb was. That lamb was so good, you didn't even need no sauce.
It got its own juice, something. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the lamb was just, you know what I'm saying, hyperventilating and it just was sweating or something. I don't know what was happening when it got cooked. But whatever was on that plate was stunning. Every single year. It's just amazing. You know what I mean? So yeah, so I just want to say the water for that, right? But now let's get into this. Alphabet. I always like to do a quick alphabet review. So we did our little intro. Always do the intro. I gotta get a black marker, but swap. We did our intro. Okay. Salakia. Did our intro. All right, now we're gonna do a quick alphabet review. We're not gonna do a word per se, but I'm gonna introduce a few new words to our vocabulary that we can use, okay, to study just how to write them out. All right. Bear with me. New words. All right. Not me, like 3 words. We're done with the singular pronouns. We're done with the singular pronouns. All right, we swept through all of them, but we have not finished the third person plural pronouns. I'm just gonna say plural pronouns. I'm not even gonna say third person. I'm gonna say just plural pronouns because one of them is actually first person. Plural pronouns. All right. We're gonna do the plural pronouns, and then we started on the important names last week. We only got through 2. We only got through Alawap Yohana, Commander General Yohana, and Alawap Mahaiman, General Mahaiman. We only got through those 2, but we're gonna get into the rest at the end of the class. And then if we have some time, so like what we might do. So let's say generals' names. And after that, we'll sticking with the name topic. We'll probably go into the names of the 7 heads. All right. So that's what's on the agenda for today. So now, we actually have Most High in Christ. So what I'll do is, okay, so we're done with these. So everybody has these down, right? These particular pronouns. And I'm talking about the singular. So just everything from I to she. We're gonna leave these down here. Yeah. So those are all the singular pronouns. I, Anya, you, Atha, he, Hawa'a, and she, Haya'a. You know what I'm saying? And remember, we broke down how you can easily use any of these to make a simple sentence. All you have to do is connect it with a verb or an adjective. Using an adjective is the simplest way to do it. It's just a pronoun plus a characteristic. I'm saying, or an action. Right? I can say I, Anya, because remember, Anya also is I am. Only because in Hebrew, this M, which would be called an auxiliary verb or basically a connecting verb, we don't have that in Hebrew. So Anya is I or I am. It's the same. You know what I'm saying? Like in Hebrew, just like we talked about, we don't say I am old. How a person in English would say it, right? The word is copula. We don't say I am old. We say I old. Go ahead.
What is am anyway? Like in English, like what's the purpose of that?
Okay, so that's what we've been going over, right? So am in English, it's a verb, right? It's a predicate, but what it's called in the sentence as it's used there is what is called a copular. A copular. All right. Let's look that up real fast. You know what I mean? Just to refresh our memory. This is good to have in your notes because this is hardcore grammar. Salakia. I think it's Copular. Yes. Copula. Salakia, not copular. It's copula with no R. Copula. Verb. Right. In linguistics, a copula is a word or phrase that links the subject of a sentence to a subject complement, such as the word is in the sentence, the sky is blue. Okay. So that's in English. That's how that functions. If we were to read on in this Wikipedia page, we would see it say that a lot of older languages don't really have it. One of those languages is Hebrew. Hebrew does not have copulas. It doesn't have linking verbs. There is no, I am such and such. Unless you're no, actually, no, it's like really doesn't exist. The sky is blue. In Hebrew, it's not the sky is blue, it's sky blue. In Hebrew, it's not I am strong, it's I strong. If you were to translate it, let me say that too. Specifically, if you were to translate it directly from Hebrew into English, you would find this missing, right? So let me just, we'll erase these. We're going to come back to these names of the generals, right? We'll just write those again shortly. So looks like somebody already tampered with my work, but it's no sweat. We got the feast coming up this Sunday. I'm sure the kids are going to do a magic show with my entire class that I leave on the board every time, and they absolutely destroy, but it's totally fine. It's no sweat because I know I didn't write this, but it's cool. All right, there's some squiggly lines. Yep, that's not Hebrew. All right. Okay, there we go. All right. So so you say the sky is blue, right? This is a copula. It's what they call a linking verb. It's because in English you don't just. So this is the noun. This is an article. The sky. This is the adjective to describe this. So in English, you need something to link them together, to describe or to help accentuate or illustrate the relationship between the two. It doesn't even really mean anything. It's just trying to tell you what the sky and blue have together. That the characteristic of the sky is that it is blue. Okay? But in older languages, this is implied, meaning there is no word for it. Now, English, again, just try not to confuse you. In English, the linking verb comes from the verb to be, right? So if we conjugate, so the verb to be, in English, if we conjugate it in the current, right? So we say, I what? I am. You what? You are. He or she is, right? And so on and so forth. We are, they are, yeah. These are the conjugations. So this is a verb. Now, Hebrew has this. It has a word for to be, right? But what it does not have is it doesn't use it as a linking verb, okay? So to get an example, I'm trying to think of what the verb to be is. I can't recall it off the top of my head. But it would never be used in this fashion because in Hebrew, this is implied. In Hebrew, you don't say the sky is blue. You say the sky blue, right? So even Anya, right? So if I say, let's say I'm using blue, what's the color? Let's get a new word real fast, right? Let's see how you say blue in Hebrew. Bear with me just a second. Bear with me. Salakia. Where am I at? We use black the other day, right? But let's be fun and use blue. The word for blue is thakalath, right? Thakalath. So if I wanted to say in English to use blue as a metaphor for sad, I would say I am blue. Right? This whole thing here. So when I say that this doesn't exist in Hebrew, what I'm saying is that a verb used solely as a linking verb doesn't exist. But this phrase is inherent in Anya. So if I say Anya Tha Kalath, it would translate into English not as I blue, it would translate as I am blue. Because I am is implied in Anya. The word Anya it means both. That's why it's hard to fathom these differences in languages, right? When you try to think of, okay, what does this mean in Hebrew versus what it means in English, you run into a little bit of an issue because they're not the same language. They don't work the same. So what we look at as two separate words, I and I am, that separation doesn't exist in Hebrew. In Hebrew, it's just Anya. And if I was to say Anya, Anya Yahawada, Anya Tabawan, no one would look at that as a weird sentence like Anya, because it's implied. The M part is, I don't have to say it. It's just implied. And this is why also, again, we talked about the other week, a lot of foreigners, when they switch languages, when they're used to saying their native language, right? They're used to saying their native language. Then they come to the Americas. They come to America, and now they got to speak English. They're used to not using this. So when someone tells them, "Oh, you got to say," they teach them English, they're going to say, "I rich, I poor, I poor." Like, you know what I mean? They don't know how to use this because this is really, you know what I'm saying, something kind of a new invention to use a verb in that way. All right. But the beauty of it is that we can use this with pronouns very easily. Very easily. We can say, I am black. We literally went to the sentence that's in Song of Solomon. Song of Solomon. And I believe the word was Shakawar. Shakawar, right? So the sentence was Anya Shakawar or Shakawara. I am black. Right? We read that at camp every week. I am black. But it is written in Hebrew. It isn't. There is no M. There's no Anya. Da, da, da. It's just Anya Shakora, and that means I am black. All right. So also keep these in mind. We can again begin to build sentences and have entire conversations with just this alone. All right. So let's keep this strongly in our minds. All right. Salakia. So does that answer your question of what this is in English? Yeah. Most High in Christ. So now, let's get the alphabet real fast. Real quick. All right. So I'm going to erase this. Saint Christ. All right. So on this side, I'll do the same thing. Right. I'll write it exactly how it is on that side, not to confuse anybody. How do I always forget the ladder? Yeah. La. Notice the familiarity of some of these letters, how much if you really look at them, they look like the letters that they ended up becoming in other languages. All right. I should have put a little bit more space, but it's no sweat. I'll put it underneath. So up here, wa, za, ka, ta, ya, ka, la, ma, na. Right. I'm down here with it. Sa, I, I forget the pa. Oh, pa. Za. What's the qua again? Ah, yeah. Qua. Ra. Sha. Tha. Says, I hope y'all can see that Salaki in my handwriting. Says, qua. If you actually look at, let's see, it kind of looks like a Q. Ra. Sha. Tha. All right. So now we have the ancient right here. Okay. This is ancient and the Assyrian over here. So let's go. Ah, ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, ka, ta, ya, ka, la, ma, na, sa, I, pa, ta, za, qua, ra, sha, tha. Most High in Christ. Same on this side. Let's do it again. Ah, ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, ka, ta, ya, ka, la, ma, na, sa, I, pa, ta, za, qua, ra, sha, tha. And also recall that in Assyrian Hebrew, these 5 letters appear this way at the end of a word. We went over that last week again as well. And we discovered that a newly formulated word, you have to adhere to that. So a word may end with a ka. We'll use the example again, as in, say, the word for king, which is malak, right? So we write it as such. Right? Malak, right? When it's by itself. But then if we have to turn it into, say, my king, or, you know what I'm saying, or your king, all right, then we would have to change that, because now that's not the last letter of the word. Then it would just become a regular old ka, right? Boom, boom, boom. And then we can put Malakya, my king, right? Or Malak ka, which would then be another ka for your king, right? Or Malaktha, which happens at times as well. But that's how that works, right? So we have to make sure, or if we want to say, how do we say kingdom? How do we say kingdom in Hebrew? I'll give you a hint. The word malak is in it. Get out. Close. I'll give it. For time's sake, I'll give it to you. I'll make it easy for you to know who it is. There's a brother with the name. We all know him. In fact, we all just saw him last week. Specifically last week. In fact, if we weren't in Houston last week, you can't see him. If you live in another state, you can't see him because he lives in Houston. There you go, Malakwa, right? Officer of 5,000, Malak Wath. Okay. Okay. Because now it's a new word. So this ka is no longer the last letter of the sentence. You gotta keep that in mind. Okay. With these on the board, I'm assuming that everyone in the room, whatever I write on the board, if I write a word on the board, I'm sure that you all can pronounce it, correct? No sweat. Let's give it a go. Let's see what we got. I'll try to be nice. We're going to do a couple of kind of random words. Actually, these words these are council words, right? These are words that relate to, if you ever are in a council or whatever, you take someone to council, these are words that will be related in some way to a council. So the first word, I'll write it Hold on. Y'all ain't gonna cheat. Y'all ain't gonna cheat me today. I think y'all slick. First, I'm gonna write it in English and see if anybody knows it. Let me give y'all a chance because maybe somebody knows it. All right. The word is judge. Does anybody know the Hebrew word for judge? Anybody online, please, you can also comment. If I give you another hint, it's gonna be too easy. Anybody? What you got, GB? It's a word you can only know it if you know it. It's not something you can guess. All right? Anybody? Does anybody know it? No sweat. Okay. It is also the name of a brother. In Texas. To give you another hint, it is another one of Captain Yatazak's 5,000s. So we did pause. We learned Officer Malakwath's name, right? His name Malakwath means kingdom. This brother's name means judge. He's an officer of 5,000 under Captain Yatazak in Houston. I'll tell you what it ends with. These are the 3 letters. Right now, we're going to do it in Assyrian. And this is a lesson in how we formulate these words with these letters. So while they're thinking about it, recall that we read in Hebrew from right to left. So this is the last letter of the brother's name, right? So if we were to write it in English, it would be whatever dot 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 dot, and then this letter. Okay. And I guess you know what? Let me not confuse you with these little dashes, right? No, I'll leave those. I'll just use a different color. Use a different color so you can. This is just to illustrate that we have 3 letters. I'll use a different color. Bop. 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 But in terms of connectors, I will tell you these two letters are connected. This one is not. Let's see, man. What you got? Most High in Christ, give him a hand. Officer of 5,000, Shapat. Right? So you want to finish the word? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's pretty simple from here. You got it. Only problem is after you do that, I'm gonna need you to do it in ancient as well. That's the only problem. But you got it, bro, because you know what you're doing. Judge, like a judge. Mm-hmm. La. What you just wrote looks like. Which one is the first one? The second one is a ba. Recall the Shah. Mm-hmm. Can. It's right there, bro. The Shah. Look now. Look at the ancient. Look at the ancient. Most High in Christ. That is correct. Look at what's around it. It's what? Sa, I, pa, taza, qua, rashata. I'm saying right before the pa, right? The two letters before the pa are the sa and the I. If you find the sa and the I, you find the fa. Right in front of your face. Look at the Assyrian, right? The Assyrian? I'm sorry, look at the ancient. See what the sa is? Yeah. I wrote them exactly the same. So if you look at the position pause on this side, it's positioned the same. So pa on this side, where it is, on which row, on which line, is the same on the other. Most times correct. That's what it is. Shapat. Shapat means a judge. All right. Now, that's okay. So, okay, so
would Shaphat be a word?
Shaphat is a word.
No, I'm trying like the
Shaphat
plural.
human?
Like what's the plural?
Of judges?
Yeah.
Shaphat.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, let's see if we can find it. Hold on. Okay. The word search. Let me. Salakia. So, Shaphat is not a noun. So it's not a judge. It's a verb meaning to judge. So we know you have it. So it wouldn't be counted. Right. It could if it needs to be like subject verb meaning you put on multiple people. Judging, you might have to say such as Shaphat. But it's a verb. So Shaphat is something you do.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's an action, it's a verb. To judge. So you have the Assyrian? I mean, Salakia.
Oh,
You know, just look at the ancient.
well, yeah, I'm just trying to.
You understand? I'm saying even on the board, they're in the same way. So whatever you wrote already, look to where it is in the Assyrian and just there you go.
I was trying to do that.
So lots of it. This is trying to work. No kind of grace. No, that's my fault. Well, I wrote it so that way y'all would know how to do it. Yeah, you can write the connection, just erase it from the top. Yeah, no, the Assyrian doesn't have to. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No, that's cool, man. Make sure you put the connector under the first one.
I don't know. That's a habit, man. I gotta.
There you go. It's not incorrect.
Okay, but why is that though? Like, I mean, because
Theoretically, you don't need it. But you gotta remember, some young man, some troopers watching, he's trying to pass. So you know what I'm saying? So you gotta make sure. Basically, you know, he'll be like, go open the party up. You know what I'm saying? Now he's there.
okay, so now somebody that's like experienced as you, like if you saw this,
Mm-hmm.
you would still know what it is.
Of course. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, when you look at some of the ancient artifacts, some of them, if I'm not mistaken, are written like that. Some of them are written like that.
Oh, but it won't have this.
Right. Okay. But we, you know what I'm saying, got to be diligent and do it for clarification's sake to let it be known what goes where. All right. Awesome. So I'm gonna get another word and we're gonna do it in the opposite direction. Let me see which word I want to pick. Just a second. Okay, so the next word is something you never want to commit. Well, that's certainly something you don't want to commit. but that's not the word we're about to go over. This word is heavily associated with Christ. So that's Tawab, right? Judge is Shapat. I'll actually leave it over here. Damn it. Judge is the Shapat. Now, this next word is what? Who knows? Who knows why Christ was crucified? Yes, sis. Most High in Christ. That's exactly what they accuse him of. They accused Christ of committing treason. His crucifixion was a government commissioned act. Treason. Anybody know what the word for treason is in Hebrew? Yeah?
That isn't a brother's name here, is it?
Absolutely not. Most High in Christ, La'ah, a brother's name in here, Most High in Christ. And, I imagine it's something that if you in a council and you think of brothers, you think of brothers going against the UPK or he lying, you might call him this. You might say this word. So when I teach y'all this word, don't go around just saying this word to people, please. Please, what you guys is? What is treason? Let's look it up. Let's get the definition of treason. Mm-hmm. Let's get the word for word breakdown definition of treason.
So like I believe it's well, I'm just taking a stab at it before I look it up. I believe it's like betrayal. Is it on that line of betrayal?
It's a little deeper than that, but you're correct, but there's more to it. But go ahead. When do you find it?
The crime of betraying one's country.
The crime of what?
Of betraying one's country.
Right. So treason is specifically, it's not treason. You could say it, but treason is not considered, okay, if you turn your back on your boys or your mans. Treason is when you do something that is to the detriment of your country. If your country is trying to win a war, you betray them, that's treason. Who's the most famous traitor who committed treason in the United States of America? His name is synonymous with treason. If someone calls you this, this is his name, and they're saying you're a traitor. It's a funny name that only a white man could have.
I know I probably know it as soon as you say it.
You're gonna be mad.
Right now. You said it's a white man, or I'm sorry, an oppressor.
Benedict Arnold. No, that's very common, very well known. Benedict Arnold. He's such a traitor that they don't even they have like a statue somewhere of like a soldier's foot, like a boot, and it's like his boot. It's like he used to be a U.S. soldier or something like that, and then he defected. And instead of giving him like a shrine with his actual, no, they put like his boot in like bronze. It was like, here is the last steps taken by a U.S. soldier, and that was he wasn't even dead yet. Like they're basically saying you did nothing after you traded you went to the other side. Okay, look it up. Look up Benedict Arnold boot. See if I can find it real fast. Mm-hmm. Boot Monument is an American Revolutionary War memorial located in Saratoga National Historical Park in New York. It commemorates Major General Benedict Arnold's service at the battles of Saratoga in the Continental Army, but does not name him. Monument to Benedict Arnold's injured foot. So he like injured his foot there. And at that time, he was a U.S. general. And because he was a traitor, they decided we're going to put a shrine to commemorate him when he was a general, but we're not even going to say his name. We're just going to put a bronze boot. If anybody's interested in seeing it, here, it's like here it is. Okay, that's what they did because he was a traitor. They made a statue of his boot. Mm-hmm. All right. It says something on it. See, it says, in memory of the most brilliant soldier of the Continental Army who was desperately wounded on this spot. Good night. Treason. Hebrew. So in Hebrew, instead of saying Benedict Arnold, the Hebrew word for treason is. Nah, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. I'll just go ahead and tell you, and I'll just have somebody come and write it out. Sis, I want you to write it out if you could, Baba Kushah, in the ancient and Assyrian. But treason in Hebrew is the transliteration is koshar. Koshar. Okay? It's a very cool word, but it's not a good word. Do not run around. It sounds like your brother's name. Like, oh, Shalom, Kushar. Nah. You know what I mean? You just insulted that brother. You know what I mean? Let's see. Hold up. Where is it at? Here we go. Blue letter. And treason, in this sense, of course, is a noun. It's a thing. Quashar. It is from the verb meaning to tie physically or mentally. Quashar. Okay. Or to conspire. Quashar. Now, sis, if you could assist me. If you could, Baba Kushar. It's wrong. I'm just playing. Nah, your connectors are wrong. That word is quashara that you just wrote. Most High in Christ. There we go. Quashar. Right. There's no ah. This is quashar. There's no a at the end of quashar. So those connectors that you have now are absolutely correct. Most High in Christ. Yeah, the water. All right. So now, judge treason. Let's get one more. We'll go on to the next. Like it 1 second. Okay, okay. Bear with me just a second. All right, one more word. The next word. So we have quashar, which means treason. We have Shabbat, which means judge. We'll do it right here. And then we have this word. We'll say to do wickedly. So you could say wicked or a wicked act. All right. This word is Ra Sha'ai. Rashai. Rashai. Okay? Rashai. Now, I'll go ahead and just knock this one out. Remember, we're going right to left. The whole point of looking at any of these Hebrew words, when we're trying to write them out, so we can read them, is to recognize the letters, sound them out, and go accordingly. So we know each letter represents a sound as such, a consonantal sound that is comprised of a consonant. All right, we're talking about the sound now. The sound is a consonant and a short A vowel sound. Ba, ga, ha, wa, za, ka, la. Right? That we know. So whenever we hear each syllable represents a letter. So we see Ra, Sha, I. We know that this Ra has to be something. We know that this Sh has to be something, which then this I has to be something. Has to be. Can't get it any other way. And once we establish that, then we know we have to convert this into how many letters? 3. It has to be. And remember, we're going from right to left. So the first thing we're going to do is very easy. We're going to focus on these consonants, the R, Sh, and we're going to write the consonants that we know are associated with each one. So in the case of the Ra, if we're doing ancient, if we're doing Assyrian, then we know we're going to write the Ra as such. Ra, Slaki. Ra. Then we're going to write the Shah. And then we're going to write what's left, which is the I. Rasha I. Just like that. And then we're going to do the same thing in the ancient. Let me just move it down. Salaki. We'll get rid of Benedict Arnold. Salaki, sis. Sorry for erasing your to do wickedly. Rasha I, which has to be Ra, Shah, I, which then has to be Ra, Slakia, Ra, Shah, I. Symmetrical. Ra, Shah, I. I is really connected to anything. You can't really connect it. So, Rasha I. Qua, Shaw. All right. And that method is how we learn how to say things. So, okay, same thing with Qua, Shaw. We're just looking for that short ah sound. We're looking for that couplet, that letter. Shah. Pot. Okay. Now, I wanted to get, I'm in stalling. Wanting to get into these pronouns. Well, I guess I can. Yep, that's what I'll do. We get into the pronouns. So we're good here, right? Most High in Christ. Yes, sir? Okay, no sweat. But just keep in mind that this whole process is literally, so we're not even here yet to where we know what each of these words mean. But we have to be able to get from this to this, this to this, this to this. We have to be able to see this and perform this in our heads that fast. And after a while, it's not as hard as it seems. It's just not. If we just familiarize ourselves with the letters, we see this, we know it has to be a Shah. We see this, we know it has to be a Pa. We see this, we know it has to be a Ta. That's what it is. The worst thing you can say is what? Shapata. And you're going to be wrong. But that's the worst thing you can say. But it's better than not saying anything. And when you say Shapata, you're probably going to be like, Shapata. Shapat. Because you're going to remember it. Okay? And that's just how we're saying thing here. You can say Kwashara, and maybe nobody catches it. Maybe. But now that you know this word exists and means treason, especially if you know the scriptures ahead of time, especially if you know what the scripture's saying, then you're gonna say, you're gonna see this and you're gonna go, Koshar. Simple. All right. So now, with that being said, you know what? Nah, I'm not gonna do the pronouns. I'll save that for next week. We'll get into some more names because we can use the names to kind of learn this writing stuff. Okay. So how do I want to go about this? You sure? What the question you got? Like, just let me know. Can no sweat. Can. All right. So now, how then would we write Commander General Yohana's name? I'm gonna erase this only because, again, while we love the ancient, the Assyrian is what we read the most. I guess I'll erase this too. Oh no, I'll leave it. I'll leave it. Why not? Just section it off. One second. The fast version of this. 7 generals Who wants to take a stab at writing these in Assyrian? I'm not even asking for ancient, just Assyrian. I'll do one. Well, first let me tell you what each of their name means, right? So we know the Commander General Yohana's name means joy. We know that General Mahaiman's name means trustworthy. Does anybody know what General Mayaka Allah's name means? First of all, General Mayaka Allah's name is the Hebrew equivalent of what common English name? Michael, Most High in Christ, the water. And right. Mayaka Allah is what English gets Michael from. Okay? In Hebrew, it's Mayaka Allah. And it means who is like the Most High. Right? How about General Hazayan? This should be a relatively easy one. I'll give you a hint. It's really two words in one. You might know what the name Zion means. Zion. Get up. That's what Zion Ya Allah means. Khan. So weapon. Right? Zion Ya Allah means weapon of the Lord's weapon. Zion by itself means weapon. So what does Ha Zion mean? Remember we talked about it when we broke down the Salaki, I forgot the word we use. Articles and not pronouns. Bear with me, let me get the proper word for you. Preposition. What does ha at the beginning of a Hebrew word mean? If we say, what does arataza mean? So if we say ha arataza, what does that mean? So what does ha zayan mean? That's exact. Give him a hand. Damn right. General Hazayan's name means the weapon. Okay. He has all of them. All of them. You feel me? Con, that's a fact. Absolutely. Absolutely. Did you go to the gun range in Houston? Damn. Right, that's what I'm saying. What the hell? Con. Good night. General Shawarmar. Now, of course, his whole name is Anya Shawarmar, right? Which means what? We talk about it all the time. We talk about it in this lesson. Anya Shawarmar means what? I'm watching, right? But you can translate his name as watcher, okay, or keeper. Anya Shawarmar. Mm-hmm. I am watching. The wa in the shamar, because really this word is shamar, but this wa shamar means to watch. This wa turns that to what is called a gerund or an ing form of the verb watching. right? As opposed to watch, it's watching. So a consistent action you're performing in the moment, right? But you can translate that as watcher or keeper, right? Then we have General Kathum Gabar, my favorite of all the names, probably in all of Israel. What does Kathum Gabar mean? Y'all better know because I say it all the time. Go ahead. It means golden warrior. Like, I mean, goddamn, like, golden warrior. Good night. And then Quabal Amath means what? What does Amath mean? It's a very important word for us. Put this in your memory bank and remember this. Give you a hint. We're all in it. Everybody in this room, I mean. We're all in it, and people outside of that door are not. That's exactly what it means. So give her a hand. Amath means truth. Quabal means to receive. It means receiver of truth. All right. And so now, let's make a little space and see if we can't write these out in Assyrian extra, extra fast. We didn't get to the names of the 7 heads. Try to do it like this. Boom, 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 boom. Okay. I got you. Yeah, we could do that. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I guess that red is killing your eyes. It's gonna erase a little bit here. Come on. I'll do one. Mm-mm. Correct. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, most high in Christ. Sis, wanna try one? Just writing the name in Assyrian. Hold up. I'm gonna tell you what you did wrong. I said Assyrian. That's the whole ancient up there. I'm making y'all do Assyrian because Assyrian is what you have to read for the Sabbath service, which will be here tomorrow. And I want everybody to be able to follow along. No, that's right. Ha. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm. That's a nah? That's like a wah. Yeah, but okay, let me help you out. That's correct, Khan. But when you write your nah, no, it's not curved back enough. Your nah should basically look a question mark. It's like this. See, you can't. You got to take this and just drop it down. So imagine you writing a regular nah and keep going. That's really how it's supposed to look. No, it's this one. This one is just not very well done. So yeah, so like that. But no, you Tawab. Most High in Christ. Give her a hand. That's Tawab. I'll do another one. Shawmar. Mayak. Mayaka. Hold on, let me start spelling it right. Mayaka Allah. Mayaka Allah. There actually is an extra ka at the end. It's really Mayaka Allah ka, meaning the 13th. But for now, we're just gonna worry about the Mayaka Allah part. You gonna try one, bro? Most High in Christ. You already said it. Too late. Ma. Ha. Ya. Men. Qua. Ball. Uh. Moth. Ball. A moth. Like a little space. Kabbalah Math, Katham Gabar, Shawamar, Hazayan, Mayaka Allah, Hyman, and now GP's gonna do the last one, so we can go ahead and clip it. Oh snap! I don't even. Was you gonna tell me you was done, bro? Why? That's correct. Most High in Christ. That's what it is. Smooth, man. Well done. All right, so that's it for today. We didn't get into the finishing part of the pronouns. We'll save that for next week. But we did learn something new. So now we know what all the generals' names look like and mean, and what they look like in Assyrian, and how we use this. So again, the mission is to be able to see, instead of doing it from this way to this way, to be able to see this and know that we have to say this. See this, say this, so on and so forth. That's all it is. I encourage everybody to do exercises where they take words they're familiar with, words that they already know, and write the transliteration and write it in Assyrian, so they can just kind of train their brains to go back and forth between the two. So that way, when you look inside of the Tanakh on blue letter, you'll be familiar with how to formulate the word. All right. Is there any questions in the room? No sweat. Let me see if there's anything online. Nothing online. All right, so we'll pick it up again next week. And with that, I'm going to pass the class over to Priest and Officer Kaparia.
ISUBK security announcements. We're the ISUBK out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commander General Yohana, who rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or a sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6 months period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry ties, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers chapters 18, verses 21, and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 through 10. Ma'ashra, which means 10th in Hebrew. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, you give to the Treasury Department or a teacher. Priest fund, free will offerings for priests, not mandatory, whatsoever amount you would like to give. Upcoming Holy Convocation, We're currently still in the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And then the next thing coming is the closing of the Feast of Unleavened Bread, which will be Sunday, if I'm not mistaken, which is what date is Sunday? Because today's the 30th. Cool, the Wilder. So yes, so Sunday, the second would be the closing of the Feast of Unleavened Bread. And just as a reminder to all Akim and Akwathian to check on social media such as ishbk.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUBK events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he has to start wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirts, pants, headband, or scarf. And with that, Imagine, which means to stand.